So I've been plucking all these books off the Amazon.com bestseller list. Dawkins and Dennett and Harris and these so-called new atheists that have kind of come out of England and are now on the shores of U.S. and Canada. And they seem to have this kind of recurring theme, number one, which is let's embrace our atheism. Come out of the agnostic closet and embrace a true form of naturalism, materialism. We have all these great scientific and technological tools to finally step up and say, boom, it's about being an atheist. And I read a lot of this stuff, and one of the recurring themes seems to be that theists, or those who believe in God, are always filling the gap with a supernatural explanation. And what I mean by that is that as we see all of this incredible causation, order, design, fine-tuning inherent in our universe, that the atheist will say, well, let's just acknowledge wondrous chance and design, this incredible, beautiful mechanism of Darwinian evolution. But, you know, the God believer has to fill it in with God. And but I noticed that they fill in all sorts of gaps with philosophical conjectures themselves. And let me give you a couple examples. For instance, the origin of the universe, the so-called Big Bang Theory, right? We have all this incredible fine-tuning right at the beginning. The chemical properties, the laws of physics, the mathematical constants. And all of your great thinkers today are saying, yeah, it's incredible. It couldn't have happened. It's totally improbable. So therefore, they've come up with the parallel universe theory, which says that there are an infinite number of parallel universes that are being created over an infinite period of time, and ours just so happen to get it right. So all of a sudden they've jumped out of science and technology and have tossed out this philosophical conjecture which says, we'll fill in the gap with an unknown, unseen parallel universe theory. Or in Darwinian evolution says that we're going to see change from kind to kind through slow, gradual, slight successive change. Well, the fossil record doesn't bear that out. We don't have any slow, successive, gradual change in the fossil record. And the neo-Darwinian theorists said all the major universities will acknowledge that. So what have they done? They've come up with the so-called punctuated equilibrium theory, which says that since we don't have evidence for slight successive change in the fossil record, we obviously had these huge jumps that didn't make it into the fossil record. Big punctuated leaps, maybe caused by radioactive events, supernovas or something like that, that caused great mutation and change all of a sudden. So they didn't have time to get in the fossil record. Well, again, that sounds like a gap-filling philosophical conjecture to me that is outside of observable science. Let me give you a final one. Watson and Crick, they were the ones who actually discovered the structure of the DNA molecule in the 1950s. Okay? Well, this so blew away Francis Crick that there's information code inherent in everything from a palm tree to you and me. He said there's no way this popped out of some primordial goo. It couldn't have happened. So what did he do? He created a gap filler called the spores from outer space theory. Panspermia is what he calls it. That of obviously some alien cultures loaded spores with information code, DNA, and launched it on our primordial Earth gazillions of years ago. Well, again, that sure does sound outside of science and reason to me. That sounds like philosophical gap-filling to me. So I guess my whole point here as I read all of these books is that we all have some level of faith at one point. We all apply a philosophical worldview at one point. I don't care how great a scientist you are or how many technological tools you have. At one point you get to a place where you apply a gap filler. You go to a place of faith. And so you can go to a place of parallel universes and unseen punctuated equilibrium events and spores from outer space, or you can stick with the God of the Bible.